So good afternoon, my Facebook family. It's Monday Meetup. Araya here. If you haven't met me before, my name is Araya Anra. I am a energy healer and psychic medium, and I use those gifts together with coaching to really help people move forward in their journey, to really unveil and get a moment of clarity on what is holding them back, what specific thing is recurring in their life that's related to something in their past, whether in childhood or previous lifetime, maybe both, and to go in and dissect and really pull it apart to bring up the emotional aspect that's locked in the soul, and in turn be able to move forward, to release it fully and let go of all the false beliefs associated with it that are keeping the same recurring patterns coming up. So I love what I do. I love working with people one-on-one, and wanted to share today. I come live every week on Mondays, talking about different subjects that are hopefully helpful to your journeys and mine. And today I've had two sessions, one with my own coach. Coaches always need their own coaches. And another with a client today that had very similar energetic themes happening. And this is common when I have my work, that there's fluxes and flows that I go through that my clients bring up and mirror for me. And so there's always this sort of dual benefit happening. But what came up today that I thought would share and be sort of poignant for people is this concept of how we create space when we go through a healing, whether it's a great massage, whether you have a session with an intuitive healer such as myself, whether you're in your own meditation working through things and you're able to release something. You can get to a place where you can feel in your body and the energy, the emptiness that gets created when you have a big release of something, especially a big emotion, and all of a sudden this wave goes out and it's like this still space in the middle, and you feel light, you feel calm, you feel centered, you just feel really good and like everything's aligned. And in that moment, because we're in the empty space, we are the most aligned. We are the most we are able to be in the present moment, in that moment. And it's when we decide we have to live in the past or the future, or really create and fill that space, that we're unable to maintain that and be in that creative, intuitive flow. So what I noticed and realized for myself in this is, it sort of brought on this image of, and when I work on clairvoyant is one of my aspects, so I get a lot of visuals. So I had this visual come in of how we might move into an empty house, say, or a new apartment, and all of a sudden we've got more space than we have stuff, right? We upsized, we got into a bigger house. And isn't this wonderful? We had a big garage sale before we moved from our old place, and now we've got not quite as many belongings. We move into a new place, and there's all these spaces. There's more room in the cupboards. There's extra space around the walls with corners. Maybe there's not as much furniture, and over time, if there's space there, we fill it. We tend to have this natural penchant for wanting to fill things up. Our energy body is the same way. So when we get to a healing where we've had this incredible release of something and we have this wonderful emptiness inside of us, we tend to be in a race to get to the next step. We want to see the result. We want to see what's going to happen now and change in our lives and move forward to it. So we want to fill it and create and push, and sort of like looking ahead to, okay, I'm doing this, but what am I going to be doing next year, and starting the planning, rather than being in that empty creative void. And that's where literally every time that I've seen true creation or things coming into being, when I meditate about it first, I'm in this space where I'm able to go into the Mesozoic soup, I call it, or the void before creation, where there's that emptiness, almost like a black hole or a vacuum, where there's nothing. And it's when there's nothing that something can be brought into manifestation. So if I can stay in that place of nothingness as long as possible within myself, and allow my higher self or my guides to direct the flow, and Mother, Father, God to work through me, then all of a sudden intuitive knowing can come in, and an inspiration can come in, and something given an idea of, oh, this is what I need to create right now. And maybe I don't know all the steps, but I can see what I'm supposed to do right now. And all of a sudden it can expand out, and that's when we are most aligned to ourselves, to what's in the highest and best interest for us as a soul to be creating what we are here to bring. But when we listen to external sources, maybe someone pushing us to have a 3-year goal, a 5-year goal, goals are great, but we also have to be in harmony with ourselves and know that we don't have to push, we don't have to always strive and push and push and push, that really allowing ourselves to be the turtle in the race can be really the most aligned kind of creation and the kind of peaceful, calm space that we can maintain and live in when we just keep staying in the emptiness in between. So it's sort of an interesting, maybe esoteric concept to think about, but I want to just put it out there and say, hey, this was a realization that I had today from some sessions, and if it's helpful to you, fabulous. If it's not, then tune in next week and maybe that will be more hitting to home. But I always like to share these tidbits because I feel like they're going to hit home for somebody, and that rather than from rushing from game to game or project to project or creation to creation, and thinking with the mind, what is my next step? What do I have to bring forth? To go through a process of internal letting go and release. And maybe you have a healer that you work with, or we get together in session, or maybe you have body work and you feel something break free and release. Don't be in that rush to fill it up. Don't be in the rush to understand and know what the next step is, but just allow it, and allow that intuitive guidance to come through you in the most natural way and show you the next step. I know that it works for me whenever I can align to it and really stay in flow, and I know that's been happening for me in the last year, especially with the creation of my business. And so I'm wishing you well. I am happy to share with you guys every Monday, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll see you next week. We do still have 2 spots open in the Dragon Within book club. That starts this Thursday. I'm pretty excited about that. That was another one of those things that I had sort of had it out in the future, knowing that it was going to come into being in its own timing, and all of a sudden 2 weeks ago, Spirit said it's time. Let's do it now. And so I'm excited to have that second round of book club starting up. I know it's always dynamic, so if you're curious about that, or if you're curious if we'd be a good fit to work together, please feel free to message me. I would love to get on a phone call with you and just explore what working together might do for you, and if we are a good fit, and or give you some information about working with the dragons and the Dragon Within and the book club that we've got going for that. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.